We are set. Like I said, Phil, first question I'll ask is what's your involvement with sports? What's your background in sports, fitness, product?
Man, it all started kind of at an early age. My family's pretty athletic. My grandfather, he was a bodybuilder, and he was also like heavily involved in alternative healing, alternative medicine. So he was always pushing, you know, cold showers, meditation on me at an early age. And then even with my father, doing push-ups with him at an early age. Ever since I can remember, he pushed me in my first wave when I was 7 years old. So kind of fell in love with surfing and gravitated toward the non-traditional sports. I surfed all over the world. And then in high school, I wrestled. So that gave me a good foundation for what I like to do now, which is mixed martial arts and jiu-jitsu, which I know you do as well, which is awesome. And, I train alongside with Gilbert Melendez, Jake Shields, the Diaz brothers. And yeah, I never competed professionally, but, a lot of the relationships and people I met over the years did, they pursued it. And I became infatuated with like the backside of it, the business side of it, and helped with, their sponsors and getting appearances. And then, started and exited my own apparel company, which led to consulting with different brands on their marketing. And I've always been involved with, just health and wellness as a whole. My wife and I own a medical spa, a skincare brand, both e-commerce, direct to consumer, and wholesale. And now, most importantly, the Elevate, what we're doing now, we just want to bring awareness to bettering yourself and optimizing your breath, and have a mixed martial arts gym as well that I'm partnered in. So I'll always kind of want to just bring things to our community that can help, improve their life and, make this kind of things, available for people.
This whole time you're called Elevate. I've been calling you ELVT for 4 months now. And no idea.
Yeah, no, it's all good. People say ELVT, but Elevate is, it's abbreviated for it, but that works too, Jeff.
All right. The question next is, how'd you come up with the name?
My co-founder Sean Fitzgerald and I, we trained together for about 20 years now. We were always bouncing different ways to elevate your athletic performance, mindset, and overall health, essentially, kind of like our slogan. We were, whether it be cold plunging, intermittent fasting, different supplements, wellness shots. So it kind of stuck with us. Our motto was just how to elevate your performance. And then when we came up with our own product, it was a no-brainer.
Well, I know your background, like I said, surfing, martial arts, wrestling. How did you decide that breathing is the way I'm going to go into a business?
Well, that being said, my background in athletics, I was always looking for ways to improve my performance, and just the sports that I gravitated toward, you're put in uncomfortable positions, right? You're, jiu-jitsu and surfing being held under. So you're always looking for ways to, not only improve your performance, but how to stay calm under pressure in those uncomfortable positions. And I came across a book called Oxygen Advantage by Patrick McEwen. I think I told you about that as well. That one was absolutely game-changing, really opened up my eyes. And then Breath by James Nestor came out, another good one called Jaws. And I just became, obsessed with all things breathing and wanted to share that with everybody. I sent that book out to probably about 50 different family members, colleagues, and everyone. And I was able to not only see performances on the mat, in the water, but in my everyday life too. I had sleep apnea, and there was no way that I was going to wear a CPAP machine. So I tried taping my mouth shut with athletic tape, and I pretty much cured my own sleep apnea and little anxieties I had just by optimizing my breath and being aware, and nasal breathing specifically. So there's nothing out there really. Western medicine wasn't pushing it at all. There was a need for breathing devices like you had mentioned, and so I wanted to bring something out there that can be, help change people's lives.
What are people getting wrong with breathing? It seems kind of simple, but
you're right, Jeff. People, breathing is a subconscious act. Your body will regulate and breathe for you, but it won't self-optimize, right? Like, we've evolved over time to become chronic mouth breathers with a high stress environment that we live in, the pollutants, the diet, the toxins. There's a demand for more oxygen. And the easiest way to do that is to open your mouth and breathe through your mouth. But that's not an optimal way. That was actually designed for fight or flight situations and as a backup. The nose is, how you're supposed to breathe. So the tool that we created was the breath control patch to help optimize and retrain the respiratory system and subconscious mind to nasal breathe.
How did you get started? What was like day one saying, now I'm going to make, I got the great idea for it. I'm going to make mouth tape. First off, what's the official name? Is it mouth tape? Is it something else?
I mean, mouth tape is kind of the umbrella that, you see them popping up everywhere, but we call ourselves that we're breath control patch. It's a little bit thicker than just a piece of tape. It's multi-layer, it's vented. There's a little bit more science and technology to it than just a piece of tape. But yeah, what was the question? How did we get started with it?
How did you get started? How'd you get started on it from one until now?
Yeah, we literally took almost a year of research and development. We took our time of really sourcing the right products and materials. We didn't want to rush into it. We were eager, right, to bring this to market, to bring this concept and educate people. But we tried every different mouth tape, or sorry, every different tape that you can think of out there. We tried athletic tape. We're putting women's nipple covers over our mouth, Jeff. It was hilarious. I mean, the cleavage tape, bamboo tape, everything. And one wasn't strong enough. One would peel off. We really wanted to find something that was like a hybrid model that you can wear while you sleep and wear while you work out. So a lot of research and development went into it until we finally partnered with a manufacturer and took some things that we liked from different tapes and were able to blend it into one.
What makes yours stand out then from any other?
What makes our stand out is, we're obviously medical grade, hyperallergenic. We're strong enough for a workout, comfortable enough for a sleep, and the new one we're throwing in there is tough enough for an ice bath. So it can withstand all those elements. And there might be one that like SomiFix, which is an awesome product. They're for sleep only, but they can't withstand a workout. And some people it does. If you're a restless sleeper, it peels off. Ours are also pre-vented. The vents are there, for an emergency inhale or exhale. There's other ones you see on the market that don't have any vents, or it's a single layer piece of tape that is, just like a piece of K tape or bamboo silk tape. Ours is specifically designed for mouth application.
How hard at first was it to tell a client, a customer, or somebody you want to work with, here, put this over your mouth and work out? It does kind of look funny when you first start doing it, but when you start understanding what you're getting out of it, it's
hard. Like we built that concept from scratch, right? Telling someone, like you said, to put a piece of tape over your mouth essentially and work out. That does come across unorthodox, but just kind of like saunas and ice baths at first, people didn't understand it. Like, why do I want to jump in a cold plunge? Why do I want to jump in an ice bath and torture my body? But once you get back, educate them, explain the science behind it, how it's going to increase your VO2 max, produce more nitric oxide, reduce your fatigue, increase your oxygen uptake, facial structure, oral health, everything. Then they realize the benefits and like, wow, like this is actually something that is really optimal. And people enjoy sharing it. And some people, we find it's a status symbol. They're like, hey, look, I can work out with my mouth tape shut. Can you? Because it is scary. It is hard. At first, there's a little bit, you got to build your tolerance. We tell people to start out very conservatively and slowly increase the pace.
What's the hard part, or some of the stumbling blocks as far as a small business now growing? Just from everything from starting up.
Yeah. It's not like we started another apparel company, protein company, energy drink. It's challenging in the sense that you're creating the market, right? You're creating a concept from scratch. So you have to like properly educate people in the beginning, rather than people already know what an energy drink is. Now you have to tell them what's special about your energy drink. Now we have to, we're kind of starting completely from scratch, but then there's people that have a little bit of knowledge and science behind it. They're like, wow, that makes sense. That's awesome. And nowadays with social media, there's like an instant marketing outlet out there, where people can, help educate and build their community.
Now, when you told someone, or told your friends, or told your teammates, yeah, I'm going to start this, what was their reaction? Were they say that's a great idea, or were they like, are you crazy? A tape on your mouth?
Yeah. Some people thought it was unorthodox. Some people were intrigued. Some people were like, no way. And other people are like sitting back with binoculars, but a little bit of everything, all the above. But for the most part, we've gained an overwhelming amount of support, like from many key players in the industry that believe in our concept, believe in our product, and it's been an awesome journey. Like it motivates us. If somebody questions why would you do that, because Western medicine isn't pushing it, and we're here to properly educate people.
What was there one sign that said, you know what, we're onto something, and then that made you like fueled you a little bit more, just to say, let's keep going down this path because we got something?
Yeah, I mean, I think there was multiple. I think in the very beginning, during beta, when we kind of came up with our flagship product, we were in communication with James Nestor. He's the author of Breath, the pretty awesome book, game-changing book. He gave a stamp of approval on our product, said, you guys really appreciate what you're doing, like your product. I slept with it last night. It's awesome. That was a huge win and boost of motivation for us, like right before we launched. And then to flash forward, once we are to market, once we did launch, is hearing some of these authentic testimonials that we get, not just, a review somebody writes, but like when we're not looking for it. Like, for example, we were at speaking at an Equinox event to all their trainers, and they let their support staff in on the meeting. And a girl raised her hand and said, "Hey, I have sleep apnea. I have horrible night's sleep. I went to every sleep study. Can I use this while I sleep?" I said, "Absolutely." I shared my story about sleep apnea, and then a couple of weeks later, I was working out. She ran up to me. She said, "Oh my God, I tried that the other night. 8 hours went by," and I said, "What the hell just happened? This was awesome." The next night I wore it, 10 hours went by, and I said, "This is the best sleep I've ever gotten in years." And stuff like that is priceless to us, and it's really validating why we're here, why we did this in the first place. It's absolutely proven concept. And then we've had similar experiences like that, that really are motivating and are big wins in our eyes.
Well, how do you use it? I'll ask you. How do you use it, and when's it best to be used? I'll go one question first. How do you start using it?
Yeah. So it's designed for mouth application. So you're going to apply the patch to clean lips. It's going to hold the lips in a neutral position, forcing your mouth shut and promoting proper tongue posture to keep the airway open. And then it's going to force you to nasal breathe. We stay to start conservatively, let your nose dictate the pace. And you're going to use it while you're stretching, warming up, meditating, mentally preparing for a workout or a competition, and then include aerobic exercises and activities, and slowly increase the tolerance. And eventually you can work out at 90% your max heart rate, nasal breathing only. And then, of course, the default is sleep. Everybody uses it while they sleep because that's a solid, 6 to 10 hours, whatever people get in the 24-hour period day that they sleep, of pure nasal breathing. And that's a good chunk of time to retrain your respiratory system to nasal breathe. And we find a lot of people now are using it during the recovery sessions. And we're working with a couple different cold plunge companies. They do it while they're in an ice bath or cold plunging. It helps them combat the fight or flight syndrome when you jump in an ice bath, and quickly activate the parasympathetic sympathetic nervous system.
Now, for skeptics, or not, I wouldn't say skeptics, but those who think, yeah, my breathing is fine, I don't need any type of assistance. How do you kind of tell them that maybe you do, in a way?
Many elite level athletes and everyday warriors operate with dysfunctional breathing without even knowing it, and they're leaving. It's really just educating them on the benefits, and kind of bringing up different case studies and examples of different athletes or influencers, whoever's showing success stories, that how breathing, once you optimize your breath, how that can change things. Like, there's so many examples in the book Breath, Oxygen Advantage, how it explains that breathing is the root of it, could be the root cause and the only thing holding people back from reaching their full potential in performance and health. Like, it doesn't matter what supplement you take, what your diet is, how hard you work out, if you're not addressing dysfunctional breathing first, that you may not have to take a certain supplement, you may not have to work out as hard. Like, it's really just kind of properly educating and grasping that.
What do people get wrong when they're breathing, especially somebody who's in the gym training hard, somebody who's on the mats?
The main thing is mouth breathing, right? A lot of people open their mouth because it's the quickest way to get as much air into your lungs, what they think, right? But it's like pouring a glass that's full. You're not actually absorbing all that oxygen. So one, it's mouth breathing, and two, it's upper chest. You know, they're not activating the diaphragm. So, and three, people think a big deep breath is what you need. You actually, less is more, nasal breathing and activating the diaphragm. So they're taking a big breath through the chest. That's fight or flight. That's signaling your body. That's signaling cortisol, all that stuff you don't want. You're trying not to get while you work out. So when you breathe through your nose, there's a lot more resistance, and you're going to activate the diaphragm, and that's the lower lobes of the lungs is where the most oxygen is absorbed. So a lot of people are opening their mouth and they shouldn't, and activating the upper chest. That's the wrong way to do it.
How are you supposed to grunt now when you're squatting? When you have tape on. You've killed the grunting market.
Yeah, so that's why we say, like, aerobic activity, and then you can build your tolerance to anaerobic activity when it comes to squatting and stuff. There's certain exercises where where you're gonna want to offload that CO2. Those higher intensity workouts, I don't suggest doing while you're actually lifting weights, because you are gonna grunt, you're gonna expel, even with sparring, but that is also why we have the vents and the patch too, for an emergency inhale or exhale. But we're not saying you're never supposed to breathe through your nose. A conscious mouth breath is okay, as long as the default is nasal breathing. So a conscious mouth breath would be a grunt, or would be, right before you're gonna score a goal, or go for a big submission or something, but as long as you revert back to nasal breathing, that is okay.
The funny thing is, I've learned how to breathe better with the tape now than without it. I've kind of eliminated the grunting. No, I've never grunted a lot, or just the heavy exhale at the end, where I'm able now to focus better when I got that little bit, the lockout, where I'm like struggling. Am I going to get it? Am I not going to get it?
Yeah.
Relax a little bit longer and then get it up. Where otherwise I'm just breathing heavy, losing focus, and I'm just about to crash. So it's kind of helped that way, which I didn't expect. That's like an added benefit.
Exactly. It's a snowball effect. The mindset is huge portion of it too, like you said too, and having that patch on, it's going to force you to focus on your breath, and essentially help you meditate, and be fully present in the task you're having at hand. And it's just going to make everything better. And then even when you're not wearing it, like you said, you're going to be more aware. Even if you wore it for a couple of weeks and you stopped wearing it, you're going to be aware in situations, and it's going to help optimize your overall performance.
It just helps. With that, how long do you advise people to continue using this? Is this a lifelong thing now? So am I going to be doing this the rest of my life, or is it something
No, it's a tool. It's a tool to wean off of mouth breathing. So we're not telling you have to wear this for the rest of your life. I mean, a lot of people do wear it during sleep, full time, but you can, just like you said, you're more aware now, right? With your grunting and everything. As long everybody's different, everybody's tolerance to CO2, the respiratory muscles, everything's different. So that I can't tell you an exact answer, but it is designed to wean off of mouth breathing, reset, and so where you don't have to wear this, where you don't have to wear it all the time. It's just kind of a tool to kind of optimize your breath.
Are there any ways to I guess to gauge if you're getting better with this, or?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you wanted to do an in-depth VO2 max study, which is expensive, go to a lab. People do that, usually top elite athletes. But there is simple tests you could do at home. Both oxygen advantage and breath talk about it. It's called a BOLT score, blood oxygen level test score, where you take a timer and you just you take a normal breath in through your nose, normal breath out. You pinch your nose and you start the timer. And when you have the first sign of air hunger, you stop the timer, and you're gonna record that time, and that's giving you an accurate reading of your tolerance to CO2 in your respiratory system. So I mean, you high level athletes, everyone's striving for like a 40 for your BOLT score, but some people might start with a 20, and then that's a good way to gauge how you're adapting to the nasal breathing.
And as far as the business end of it, are there any other stresses besides going into a business on your kind of as a small business? Are there stresses besides just getting the product out, like the marketing, like little things like that take up a lot of your time?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as a small business owner and a startup, my partner and I, we wear many different hats, like so you have to be able to manage and be okay with shifting a lot of different gears in one day, if you will. Whether you're a social media manager 1 hour, and then you're on the call with attorneys working on intellectual property, and then trying to work with a wholesale account. So just kind of managing a lot of different things you have to do day to day as a business owner, but it's all part of the journey. It's motivating, rewarding, and a good reminder to kind of never turn away at the first hurdle, meet every challenge as an opportunity to kind of grow and learn. So it's an awesome experience.
Like how many hours in a day are you putting into this?
Man, we're grinding from sun up to sundown. It's it really is a lot more than people think, when running a business and building a concept and building trying to not only a concept but brand awareness as well. So yeah, but it's awesome. It's a
Is
great
it
journey.
fun? Is it fun or
Yeah,
stressful?
all the above, but at the end of the day, it is fun. Without the highs, yeah, I mean, without the lows, you're not going to get the highs, and the highs are fun. The lows are great too, though. Like you need that. It's all currency.
With that, was there ever a low that you said, you know what, are we making the right decision here by continuing this? Or have there ever been
Uh,
those low moments that really were more
I
challenging
don't
than
think,
others?
yeah, I don't think there was a definitive low. It comes in waves. With the different businesses I'm affiliated with as a whole. But it's just a good reminder to stick to your mission and your goals as a whole, and not to turn away at that first hurdle.
Last one is, for people who are looking into the mouth tapes, if they don't get elevates, what should they be looking for? What should you look for when you're going down a list of 30
Yeah,
items that may look the same to you at first?
yeah, I would say something that is medical grade, latex free, hypoallergenic, and then most importantly, made here in the U.S. Amazon and manufacturers in China tend to kind of study Amazon, study the algorithm, the trending products, and they just pump out a bunch of different mouth tapes and stuff, and you don't know what that product is made of and what adhesives are being used, and when you're putting that over your mouth, that can be scary. So definitely something made here in the U.S. Domestically. That's going to be backed by a material data sheet, so you can trace back the manufacturer. You can know exactly what products are being used, and I appreciate any mouth tape company out there that is trying to properly educate the world how to breathe properly. That's what we got into it for, right? So whatever choice they may use, just kind of do your homework on them and ensure it's something high quality.
So whoever been your biggest supporter so far in this?
Man, that's a tough question, but we've been blessed with a solid community of supporters. But some highlights I'd say would be Gilbert Melendez, Dr. Jenna Gatsis, she's a celebrity physical therapist, Christopher Camacho, he's a combat conditioning consultant, Luca Padua, professional big wave surfer. He lives and trains at Laird Hamilton's house full time. But if there's one, I mean, definitive, I mean, the whole team over at TRX have been awesome. They've been good supporters from day one, and then I'd say Renew Therapy as well. They've assisted in getting the product in some cool hands. The first person they sent Elevate to was actually Mark Wahlberg, believe it or not. So that was pretty cool to hear. And just overall, it's been a collaborative effort with supporters.
On the flip side of that, though, have you had to deal with negative reactions? People say, no, it's a fad, you don't really need it, or
That actually is motivating. I'd love to still give them the product to try out. Maybe it could sit at their nightstand or it could sit in their gym bag. But yeah, that's not a problem. I mean, as long as they'll understand, they'll see. Every podcast going to be talking about it soon. Just mouth taping and nasal breathing as a whole, and it's on track to be the next wellness trend. And we're just a little ahead of the game.
when was the first time you tried it?
Yeah, the first time I tried it, I tried mouth taping. I read about it in Oxygen Advantage, probably like 15 years ago, and I was scared. I was like, there's no way I'm taping my mouth shut at night. There was no evidence, there was nothing online, nobody was talking about it. And I didn't do it for like a month. And then you know, I tried it with a nap, and then I tried it with a full sleep, and then, you know, eventually I cured my own sleep apnea with it. I'm like, wow, I can't believe I waited this long. I can't believe nobody, you know, has told me to ever do this. And yeah.
And what has been your biggest break so far?
I don't think there's a you know, one big break. It's just kind of a bunch of cool little milestones along the way that have compounded, you know, from day one with James Nestor, you know, giving a stamp of approval of the product, to like last weekend, Dr. Andy Gaplin posted about it organically. You know, no, we haven't paid one person, we haven't spent $1 in marketing. That, yeah, to hear someone like Dr. Andy Gaplin say, "I love this product. It's the best mouth tape by far," like that's a big break. And then all those little authentic testimonials along the way that we hear, those are a big break in itself, because it's extremely motivating and rewarding, and, you know, grounding us and giving us purpose of why we're doing this, you know.